Okay,
Here we go.
thank you so much. I want to also welcome all of you, and there are many people who I do not know, except the board members, and then Jessica Garay, who works in our school. And we're really happy that you are all here with us today, and hopefully we'll get to know you a little bit more. My name is Eulogio Alejandre. I am the executive director and principal of Esperanza Elementary School. We're a charter school in West Valley City. My 35th year in education. I have been a board member for about a year now in ALATU. We will begin, I believe we have 5 panelists that are on right now, and we'll go in this order. Eric Castro will go first, Monica Ramos Carlson second, Paula Hain, Pat Limas, and then Jessica Garay. So I'll turn over the time over to Eric Castro.
Awesome. Do you want me to just kind of, because I've got the questions, do you want me to just go through all of them one by one? Do you want me to just pick the ones that I look through that I feel like I can speak to?
That are more relevant to you.
Okay.
I think that would be good.
Awesome. Well, yeah, so I'm Eric Castro. I currently am teaching at Mill Creek Junior High in the Davis School District. It's in Bountiful. I'm pretty sure I'm okay to say I did get told this week that I got an administrative intern position at Clearfield High School. So which will start next year. So I'm excited. It's been a good week, to say the least. So I'll be starting my administrative career soon here. But just going through the questions here, I had a desire to go into education for a while after I got into the university. Didn't actually really know what I wanted to do, but then there was a part of me that wanted to go into education and be a teacher. But there was also a part of me that thought to myself, if I'm going to be a teacher, I think I might want to eventually go into administration at some point. But as soon as I got into the classroom, I told my wife I really didn't want to leave. I loved being in the classroom, loved interacting with students, and honestly, it came down to, while it was in the back of my mind that maybe at some time in the future I'd want to do that, it was, and I've told this story again, so this may be a repeat for some of you, but I had my principal at the time had a conversation with me and just told me that he really thought I should think about going into administration and that he'd support me. And so that kind of gave me the motivation and the confidence to seek it out and to go for it. So that was it. And one of the motivating factors, I guess, one of the things that motivated me most was I had a really supportive administrative staff that really helped me become a much better teacher than I was my first year. And I really credit them for helping me make a difference in students' lives. And so while I know teachers get, and duly so, get a lot of credit for the good that happens in students' lives, there's a lot of people behind the scenes that are helping support teachers. And those administrators that I had were obviously impacting lives and have impacted lives through the work that they've done. It may not be direct and it may not be visible, but they really made a big difference in my classroom and were able to help me further student learning and impact student learning in a way that I wouldn't have been able to do on my own. And so that has driven me to kind of try to give that back as an administrator and really try to reach out and help teachers have a positive impact on student learning. And obviously there's lots of different variables with that. And obviously there's teachers that are willing and teachers that are a little bit less willing to receive help. But I know there are teachers out there that want to be better teachers. And I think a good administrator can lead in the right direction. So that's kind of my path and my decision making as far as becoming an educational leader and going into administration. And so I was looking at a couple of universities. I had my wife's friend's husband was wanting me to go to Western Governors, and he worked for Western Governors. And then I had a couple of friends that went to Utah State. And just in the end, I've had friends that went through Western Governors, and the program I think is fantastic from what I've been able to see. But I chose Utah State just because I wanted something that was, Western Governors were a little more self-paced, and I wanted something that was a little more structured, I guess, and kind of told me like, here's the semester, this is what you've got to do, make sure you got it done, here are the due dates. I felt like I needed that a little bit more. And my son's walking in now, so if you hear sounds in the background, that's him. I'm hiding in his room. Yeah, so that's why I chose Utah State. But I don't know. I go back and forth, and I do think that you make the most out of whatever education you get, and I think you can be motivated and make a difference and learn wherever you end up going. And then honestly, Davis School District, and I've said this, and it's not because Bernardo's here, but honestly, Davis School District has been fantastic. They've supported me so much. I can't say that I had many difficulties in getting into my program and being mentored and being supported. They've done a fantastic job. Bernardo reached out to me pretty early on in the whole process. And I really felt like I had a district that had my back from the get-go. However, I've talked to quite a few people in different districts and whatnot, and that have had different experiences than I've had. And I can honestly see how, I feel very lucky, very blessed to ended up where I did, because it's not me that has made all this happen, right? And I've put in work, but there's been a lot of support again behind the scenes and helping me that has made this a reality and what I'm been able to do. And then lastly, just honestly, the scholarship meant so much to me, being a recipient of it. I was telling my wife earlier today that I am so grateful for that, I feel again so lucky to be able to be considered and then being able to be selected for it. School is a stress, and I think higher education can be super stressful, and then on top of that, obviously thinking about paying for it, and I have 3 little kids. There's obviously lots going on, and to get the scholarship, it obviously helps alleviate some of that stress and helps me feel that things are a little bit more manageable. And so I am seriously and forever indebted to Alas for that. And obviously beyond just the scholarship itself, the support system that it's built for me, I've been able to meet people who I wouldn't have met otherwise, who have supported me and who have helped me and given me ideas and shared with me thoughts and been able to support me through this. So it's while the monetary value of the scholarship has been great, there is invaluable I guess support that I've received from Alas that you can't really put a price tag on, that's been helpful. So sorry, I feel like I'm just rambling. I hate just talking by myself, but yeah, so that's kind of it for the questions.
Can you kind of tell us a little bit about the interview process that you went through to get this position?
Yeah, so for the scholarship?
No, for the position that you're starting next year.
Yeah, for sure. So there's a pretty thorough application process with Davis School District. There's obviously there's letters of recommendation, there's a cover letter that you submit, but then beyond that, there's a body of work that you fill out and create, where you talk about different positions in leadership and different experiences which you've had. There are obviously it's it's quite the task, and it takes some time. And so there's that part of it, right, before you actually get into the interview room, and then hopefully, right, you've answered the questions and filled out everything well enough that you get into the room and get into the interview. And then at the interview, and I interviewed last year as well, and the interviews were very similar in that you have a panel of the secondary directors are there for the school district. There's different representatives. I know Bernardo was on either he might have been on both of them this year and last year. I know he sat in on it. They have a parent sit in on it. They have a couple of current principals through the district. I want to even say they had an assistant principal. They have someone that was over curriculum at the district. Just a lot of different people in there. And the questions for secondary in specifically were the same. Pretty broad questions. So the first one I want to say was talking about strengths, I think, and I may have these out of order, but one of them asked you about your strengths, 3 of your strengths, and talk about how they'll help in leadership. But yeah, they just give you 4 questions. They give you a heads up beforehand, like 15 minutes before. They send you the questions. That allows you some time to look them over, get your thoughts written down. At least that's what I did. I kind of wrote down my thoughts, gave me a little bit of a guideline. They say you've got so much time. I want to say it was either 12 or 15 minutes. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly. And then, yeah, there's no follow-up questions. It's really straightforward. They ask you the question, you give answers. They ask you the next question, you give the answers. So it's kind of scary in that I think in life, socially, we're very used to getting immediate feedback in a conversation. In interviews, we get, you give an answer, you kind of read the room, you kind of see how people are reacting to it. And in this interview process, it's like, while everyone's smiling, right? And this was over Zoom, so everyone's smiling back at you on the computer screen. There's no immediate feedback there, so you don't actually really know how everything's going. But it was good. It was a good experience. I honestly appreciate that they give you the questions ahead of time, because that's honestly, there are a lot, like I think in particular, me, like being able to look at these questions beforehand is helpful, because there are times where if you're given questions on the spot, you go back and think back on it, like, man, I wish I should have said that. But it allows you time to actually vet out and think through your thought process. And so that was helpful.
Great. I hope you stay with us, because we're going to have questions later on. So
yeah,
we're going to go next to Monica.
Okay. Yeah, so thanks for having me. My name is Monica Ramos Carlson, and I am an assistant principal in Davis School District at Centennial Junior High, which is in Kaysville. And my background is in school counseling. So I've been earned my English education degree and took a little bit of time off right when I was graduating that, and had my daughter, and then went into school counseling and ended up going directly into school counseling after I graduated from Utah State, and have been in junior highs and high schools, in Granite School District and in Canyons. Had, I think, similar to what Eric was saying, I felt like, oh, good, thank you. I'm going to try to time myself here so I don't go over. I really felt like I loved being a counselor. It was, just an incredible job for me to be able to work one-on-one with students, to be able to support families. I was able to interact with a lot of first generation students like myself, and it was very rewarding. And I also felt like in working with administrators and kind of seeing the work that administrators did, I felt like if I could become an administrator, that I could have a positive impact on a more like system-wide school level. And so I had some doubts about doing that, because I felt like my counselor personality maybe didn't fit what I thought an administrator was. But I feel like my counselor background actually has helped me a lot in being able to work with students and families and tackle a lot of difficult issues. And so it's kind of funny, but I'd gone back and forth talking a lot with my husband, like, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if it's the right fit for me. And I saw an announcement on Twitter about the scholarship, and I thought, okay, I'm going to apply. And if I get it, I'll go for it. And I applied for the scholarship, and I was awarded the scholarship. And so it was a blessing, and truly, I think, helped me to see myself as a potential school leader, as someone that could do this. So I also, while I was doing that, while I was going to school at Utah State, I did choose Utah State I went there for my master's in psychology degree and wanted to go back for my admin certification. And while I was doing that, I was also, I was a counselor and a PBIS coach in Granite at the time. And so I did their emerging leader program, which was really helpful too, in Granite, to get the emerging leaders, all the insight that I gained from being a part of that group, and then being an ALA scholarship recipient and doing my program. And so I applied for an administrative spot in Davis School District and was offered an internship in Granite. But I really felt like Davis was so welcoming and truly showed an interest in helping me develop myself as an administrator. And, I mean, they just straight up were like, we believe in you. We really want you to we see potential in you. And that was, I'd never really heard that before, to be honest. It's like, everybody's doing their thing, working hard, but I thought, well, I want to go somewhere where I feel like I'm going to be able to get better at what I really want to do and become a stronger leader. And so I'm grateful for that, and really grateful for, again, just echoing, what I'm sure so many of all of us that have received the scholarship, it feels like truly, an opportunity to give back to our Latino community here in Utah, to get to know other people who've had similar experiences as ourselves, and to have a chance to meet other accomplished Latino leaders has been really eye-opening and exciting for me.
Can you tell us just maybe briefly one great challenge that you faced while you were trying to become an administrator?
So I feel like a challenge for me personally was just understanding what my leadership style was, kind of getting to know myself a little bit. I had a mentor who just encouraged me to think about my strengths and to think about what kind of where I lean in terms of what those are. So I think for me, my biggest challenge was just kind of like self-discovery and kind of figuring out, who am I when I become a leader? What do I want? How am I going to be true to myself? How am I going to get better? How am I going to overcome the, just the whatever self-doubt I may have about, well, can somebody like me do this, So that honestly was kind of mine.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Paula Hain, can we have you next?
So like I said before, I'm a Spanish teacher. I've taught all kinds of levels of Spanish. And more recently, over the last 4 years, the dual language immersion program. And I'm at Centennial Middle School, so close to Monica with the name, in the Provo City School District. And this is my 16th year there as a teacher. I have been a member of many committees in the school district. I'm currently, this is my 4th year as a professional development coordinator at my school. And I serve like in the instructional strategies committee. And I've also organized like parent nights for parents of Latino students who are in the elementary and are transitioning to the middle school. So I've been involved in lots of different things. And it's just always bugged me to sit in meetings and say the Brown students this and the Brown students that. And especially I was at one meeting where a teacher, a member of our faculty, he said, well, it's really easy. If you look at your role, if the last name ends in EZ, you know what kind of student you're gonna have. And that like hit me hard because my maiden name is Suarez, easy, exactly that. And I turned around and I said to him, so does that mean I fit that profile? Because I used my maiden name for a long time. Actually, until we became US citizens, I changed my name to my married name. So for many years, I was Paula Suarez. And so I said, so what kind of profile do I fit into? I was like heartbroken when I heard that. And I also started a Spanish for Native speakers class because the kids that came from Latino families were put into like my introduction to Spanish class. And I'm like, no, this isn't a class for them. So I talked to my principal and did the Spanish for Native speakers class where I got to know a lot of the Latino families and work with them. And so those experiences said, I got to do something more for the Latino community. And that's what kind of made me think of going into administration. And I did the program through SUU, and I did look at other programs, for instance, like BYU, but BYU, part of it, you have to be there. And my parents were pretty ill and they live in Colombia. I'm originally from Colombia. And so SUU fit a lot better for my needs because it's all online. So I could go back home for the summer, tend to my parents' needs and get my education. And then the day I interviewed for the scholarship, my daughter was graduating from BYU. And it was, as you can see, pretty emotional. Like, is my education more important than supporting her graduation? But yeah, I went to the interview and a few days later found out that I got the scholarship. Kind of like what Eric said before, it just was really meaningful because at that time, I happened to have triplets. And so I have 4 daughters very close in age. And at the time I got the scholarship, all of my kids were in college. And so obviously it meant a lot to me because we do support our kids with their college careers because we want them to be prepared for life with an education that they can use. And so the scholarship meant a lot to me at the time because it really helped. And also just meeting more people with those same interests in helping the Latino community and just being involved has also been really great. I finished my leadership program last summer. I have applied for 3 positions. I have interviewed for 2. I've gotten none. I'm still at my current job. Both of the interviews have told me that I don't have enough experience. So it's been kind of like, so what do I do? Like, I have served in all these committees. I have been involved in all these different things, yet I don't have enough experience, but I have a full-time job and I can't really go get some more experience. Like, I need a foot in the door to be able to get the experience. And that's where I'm at right now.
Great. Thank you so much. And I'm sure we're going to have questions, follow-up questions a little bit later on. Let's move on to Pat Limas.
Hi there. Yeah, I'm Pat Limas. Paula, I want to say maybe you should make a move to Davis County. Yeah, so it's a great district to work for. Yeah, so I am a high school counselor at Layton High. I actually just received word too the other day, like Eric, that I got an administrative internship and I'll be at Syracuse High School next year. So I'm really excited, nervous, and, all that, butterflies that come with it, but I'm really looking forward to it. I went into education because school was really difficult for me. In Davis County, we have this thing called local case management. You guys will know what that is from Davis County. And, I was one of those kids where, teachers and administrators and counselors discuss, like, what are we going to do with this kid? So I struggled, but then I worked in education as an ESL tutor, and then went to get my bachelor's, and, while working in the counseling office as a secretary as well. And then I moved on to get my master's degree at Utah State in school counseling. So I just love education. It changed my life. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to work in education and work in school leadership, because that's where the decisions are being made. As a counselor, I feel like I have input, but I don't have any decision-making authority. So I really wanted to have a seat at the table where those decisions are being made. And, kind of going back to when I was in school, I felt invisible, and I think I bring a different perspective, to the table. So I have gone back to school to Weber State to get my leadership endorsement, and I'm about done with it. I'm taking my last class and doing my internship hours. But I went to Weber State because I had already connected with Dr. Molding, who is one of the advisors there. And she was really encouraging to me to do the program. And the tuition was a little cheaper as well. And I contacted this advisor beforehand saying, hey, I already have my master's. What can you waive? Because I was trying to save a little bit more money that way too. So, she got back to me pretty quick and said, hey, this is what are the classes that we can accept from Utah State so that you don't have to take here. And I thought that was really helpful. So that's why I chose Weber State. Some of the things that I found challenging at first was, I think having the confidence to really just jump in and do it. And, because I'd been thinking about it. And then one of the superintendencies approached me at the school. Dr. Viad reached out to me, and my principal did too. And that really kind of gave me the nudge that I needed to jump in and do it. And then I heard about the scholarship, applied for it, had the interview that I was super nervous for because I'd never interviewed for a scholarship. It was the first scholarship I'd ever received. So I was really excited about that, and just proud of myself too, because again, I'd never gotten a scholarship before. And with ALAS, I felt a sense of camaraderie and connection. And it's something that I had not had in education. Like at my jobs, I made friends, and they were, your school kind of becomes, they become your people. But at the same time with ALAS, I felt more of that camaraderie because I felt like ALAS could really see who I was and understood some of my, a lot of my background. And some of those questions where, maybe somebody else should know the answer to these questions about education and getting your master's degree, and, who you should talk to about school leadership. And Dr. Viad has always had an open ear, for me to ask questions and say, what about this? What do you think? So I think that's something that has helped me overcome the challenges of, that confidence question that I've always had about myself and school leadership. And again, ALAS just gave me that nudge that I needed to go into education leadership. Some of the interview, I guess, advice that I have, it's the same as what Eric was saying. We went through the same thing. It was on Zoom. I'm assuming similar questions. But I would say something that really helped me is that my principal just really dug into me, and she poured into me, and she coached me a little bit, like, hey, you know, what are you gonna say? What are you thinking about this? How are you gonna introduce yourself? You know, it's okay to use I, not we, because sometimes as counselors, you know, we work as a group and it's really easy and more comfortable to say we, you know, so that's a really good piece of advice you gave me. It's like, take credit for what you've done. It's okay. This is where you need to shine. So that was really helpful. And you know, something else that I found helpful during the interview process is knowing who to call, who has the information, when is the application open, when does it have to be in by, getting all your letters of recommendation, what should be in those letters, and ask for, you know, those principals to add those things to your letters and being specific. I thought that was really helpful to me, and my principals helped guide me on all of that, and trusted that I was going to do the right thing. They didn't necessarily read through my letters or application or anything, but you know, I thought that was really good advice. And sometimes making those phone calls to the district can be kind of stressful too. At least for me, it was. I don't know if it is for anybody else. But just getting in there and getting that information and advocating for yourself, or advocating for myself, is something that I have learned through this process. And then in one of our sessions as well for ALAS, or two of them, I learned, I can't remember who said it. We were sharing PowerPoint slides, and I think it was Ulogio, or I can't remember who it was. And they said it's important to know your story and own it and know how to tell it. And that has been just life-changing for me, you know, because I've been able to help my students and my parents with some of that, you know, sharing small tidbits, or if I'm sharing, you know, at a conference or, you know, something like that. That has been really, it has helped me get to know myself better and to express that to other people so that I can in turn help them. So I really believe ALAS has helped me, and I in turn, I don't feel like, oh, ALAS is making me pay them back, but I feel like, okay, I need to pay it forward now, you know, and, you know, I think help the next person coming along. And that's what I think being in educational leadership is going to help me do.
Excellent. While we transition over to Jessica, be thinking about all of the panelists, be thinking about something you wish you would have known before you started your university program for administrative endorsement. I think people that will see this, they need to know something that you wish you would have known. So Jessica, would you take us next?
Yes, so again, my name is Jessica Garay. I graduated from the University of Utah last May. Even though I didn't have a graduation, it didn't really feel like I graduated, but I'm super proud of that accomplishment. I have been working for Esperanza for 6 years now. I have done my whole career there, and it's just a blessing to be in that school. Growing up, I didn't coming to the United States when I was only 8 years old and not knowing a word of English. I remember all the struggles that I had to face and how I felt knowing that, you know, nobody could understand me, not even the teacher. So once I moved into 3rd grade, I had a teacher that actually spoke Spanish. And I just remember how that comforting that felt, you know, somebody that could understand my language, that share my culture. Now there's a lot of things that have changed. We have, you know, dual immersions. We have a lot more Latino teachers, and, you know, graduating, I dreamed of, you know, working at a school where I could be able to be that role model for my students. I could be the advocate for parents. And sometimes I joke around because I live in West Valley, and right on the last year when I was going to graduate to become a teacher, they started building a school. And, you know, when I saw the flyer that it was called Esperanza and it was a dual immersion, then I said, okay, this is the school where I want to be. It was, sometimes I joke on, this school was made for me. And I started working there. I've been there for 6 years, and I really like being there. And the reason why I decided to go into educational leadership is for the same reason. Now there's a lot more Latino teachers, but I still don't see enough Latino principals. I think it's very important for parents to be able to come to the school and advocate for the students. And in most of the schools, that does not happen because sometimes, minority parents kind of feel intimidated or, they have that language barrier. So I just think it was really important to, keep on going and aspire becoming a principal. Let's see. One of the main challenges that I have faced, I guess, is, being so young, only 30 years old. Sometimes I'm afraid of making mistakes. And, when I became an assistant principal, I just thought, I have to be perfect. And I was a little hard on myself at times, but then with time, I learned that it's okay to make mistakes. And, that's how we learned, and it's okay. And I'm really thankful to work with Mr. Alejandre. He has been a role model for me. I think he's one of the reasons why I also decided to go into educational leadership. He was, I really looked up to him, and knowing that, he saw potential in me, that also motivated me to keep on going. Throughout my career, I have done things that I never thought I would be able to do. Being young and growing up in the Glendale area, I saw, educational or going to the University of Utah just as a dream. I never really thought I could do it. And, after I graduated the first time, I'm like, I need to keep on going. I really liked that feeling of success and knowing that I could, help others in the future, my daughters, my family, my students, and I'm really happy for that. Let's see if there's, and with ALAS, it was really helpful for me to receive the scholarship. I did apply 2 times. I didn't get it the first time, but I tried again and I got it the second time. And it was just a blessing to receive that financial assistance. I was able to actually focus in school and, be able to spend that little time, the little free time with my daughters since they were so young. And I think that if I wouldn't have been able to receive the scholarship, then I probably had to, work more hours or, figure out other ways to get some money to pay for the tuition. So I'm very thankful for that. And I'm also thankful for being part of this organization. I like meeting new people. I like learning from others. And I think in the future, I would like to also, be helping the future generations. And that is it.
Thank you so much, all of you, for sharing. We certainly appreciate the time that you took to put some words together. We do have a couple of minutes, and I really wanted to hear from you all, even if it's a brief statement about something that you wish you would have known as you began your administrative learning at the university. And I guess we can go back to Eric.
Yeah, I think getting into a postgraduate program can be intimidating. But I think one of the things that I wish I would have thought about or known beforehand was actually how, at least the program I am finishing right now and the program I got into at Utah State, how understanding the professors actually would end up being, with the fact that they understand that you're in a career. I guess I had kind of thought that it was going to be kind of like my undergraduate, where there was just, and not to say it hasn't been a lot of work. There's been a lot of work involved, like in it, and it's been, time consuming for sure. But the professors know you have a career, understand you have a family, and just you reaching out and saying every now and then, like, hey, there's this thing, I need some extra help. Especially, I've been doing all of mine online. I have not been in class for any of them. And just feeling confident enough to reach out to the professor and say, hey, I need to understand this a little bit better because I don't see you in person. Then being able to understand that if you need some extra help, if you need some extra help on really anything, they're willing to give it. And then lastly, I think with one of the most difficult things has been getting the internship hours, again, because of the time. And so I think I put myself in a pretty good position, but those first 2 semesters, I didn't do quite enough hours, and I ended up having to do a lot more as we got into it. So I think know how many hours you're going to have to get and really plan that out so that you're getting a little bit here, instead of, getting some here and there and then having to backload a ton of those hours to actually meet the requirements. Like, think ahead a little bit and make sure, okay, this semester my goal is to get 90 hours. Honestly, that was one of the biggest stresses of the whole program for me. So
Thank you so much for sharing. Monica?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think, and that's where I think looking at the different programs that universities are offering and what their internship requirements look like, because my understanding is that they may vary depending on the school. I know Utah State's, I was the last cohort before they moved into a different kind of way that they were going to be counting internship hours. That was going to be maybe a little easier for folks to manage. So getting a handle on that, because that is stressful. That being said, it's doable, and I don't know, I had to do it for my counseling degree too, and it was always just kind of a struggle getting through all those, and of course, but being aware of how to juggle your family and your work and your hours and all of that. And the other thing I would say, just on a positive note, is that I was really happy to have learned so much in my program. Like, I feel like it opened my eyes and broadened my understanding of what good educational leadership looks like, and the potential for strong educational leadership, the potential that one can have on students and families. And so I think it helped deepen my understanding and get me even more excited about, like, yeah, I can do this, and I'm really excited about it, and I want to try and focus on this area or learn more about this topic, because I feel like that's where I will hopefully be able to make a difference. So I felt like it was very rewarding professionally.
Thank you so much. Paula? Hey?
So when I did the program with SUU, they had just transitioned to the competency-based rather than internship hours. And so one thing you need to be really careful about is like what competencies you do during your elementary internship and which ones you do with your secondary, because some of them work better at one school than the other. Like, after school programs, well, at the high school, they're swamped with after school with the sports and the orchestra, the drama, just all kinds of activities that you can supervise and learn about that. And so I'm also really grateful for my principal, because when I talked to him about starting my administrative program, he helped me with my schedule at my school. So for one semester, my prep time was the very first hour, and that allowed me to go to the high school because they start earlier and do my internship during that time. And then for the second semester, my prep switched to 5th period, or yeah, we do 5 periods at my school a day. So to the last part of the day, and that allowed me to go to the elementary because they go a little longer. And so that worked out really, really well for me. So make sure that you talk to your principal and get their support in that regard. You can also involve like HR in case you need something. At my district, the HR person was also really helpful. He actually came to my school and met with my principal and him and I when we talked about how hours we're going to work. So that's really helpful. I work in a small school district. And so I've also found out that you just got to have connections in the other school districts or wherever you apply. And I think that's one of my difficulties because I've been for 16 years at the same school district. And I know lots of people in the Provo City School District, but I know very few in other school districts. I did do quite a few hours of internship in the Alpine School District, and that kind of got me to know some people in the Alpine School District. But for instance, I live in Spanish Fork, and that's Nebo School District, and I don't know, other than the teachers and principals that my kids had, I really don't know anyone else. And they know me as a parent, they don't necessarily know my leadership skills. And so you just have to advocate for yourself and show the leadership skills that you have, because I think that's what is going to get you in the door.
Thank you so much. Pat?
I think for me, I wish I would have asked more questions to Weber State about the internship, because I went into it thinking I was going to have to do like 300 or 400 hours, but I didn't, and I don't. So it's all standards based. So that was just a pleasant surprise to me. So, but I had already started doing hours at the beginning of the school year. So I went to supervise games and, all this stuff. And I was like, oh, I don't even have to be doing this, but I mean, I'm still learning. So it was still a great experience, but when I actually signed up for the class and found out, oh, I don't need all those, as many hours as I thought, but I think for really, that's, one of the things I wish I would have known.
Thank you so much. And finally, Jessica?
For me, just thinking about entering into a master's program was a little intimidating at first. And once I actually enrolled and started taking the courses, I really enjoyed it because I could actually put everything I was learning into my job, into practice. I was able to do my intern hours at the school that I work for, but I also went to Horizonte High School to do the secondary hours. And that was also new for me. Most of my career has been in elementary, so it was nice learning how to work with older students as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We are going to turn the time over to Grand Canyon University. They have some messages for us. So who is with us from Grand Canyon?
Hi, my name is Jeremy Hansen. Having some video issues, but you guys aren't missing anything seeing my mugs. So I just wanted to introduce myself. I know some of you are familiar with me, but we have the opportunity to partner with ALAS, and me gusta practicar el español también. Lo aprendí en España y hablo con la Z. Y entonces, but I speak English a lot better, of course, but like to practice. But as far as the scholarship, I'm happy to answer questions. On the website, it kind of gives the details as, but as far as the scholarship, it's a $5,000 scholarship to go towards the educational administration program. And I think as far as we have some similarities with some of the schools that have been mentioned, but as far as how our program is structured, it is one class at a time, and classes are 6 weeks long. And typically you'll be able to get your internship hours completed at the school, where you're teaching. So that's a nice benefit. Other than that, kind of a side note, I guess, for future ALAS members or associates of you guys, so GCU is actually offering a 25% scholarship to undergraduate students. So any of the paraprofessionals that you guys can think of that may benefit from that, happy to help them out with that as well. Other than that, any questions for me, Paula, anybody, as far as the structure, the scholarship, anything like that, or anything about GCU?
I think Paula will
Jeremy. Oh,
actually, she will be on in a minute talking about the scholarships.
oh,
Okay.
okay.
The next
Jeremy, I
time.
just had a question. If you could put your information in the chat so we had that
Sure.
available for us.
Yeah, happy to do that.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
And I believe that Paula is going to mention, I think that somebody was going to talk about kind of the process working with GCU, and if you guys do have anybody that I can help out, whether they be paraprofessional or obviously for the educational administration, I'm happy to answer questions as well on that.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So now Paula and Annabelle, I believe, I'm not sure if you're both talking or about the scholarship. So that is next.
Paula, will you put up the slide? All right, so my name is Annabelle Richards and I'm the Secretary of ALICE Utah. We founded the affiliate in 2015 and started our scholarships in 2018. And we've given 2 scholarships every year since. And it's been a great opportunity to hear from those of you who have received the scholarship and to hear your experience. And I appreciate your willingness to be so honest and open and share your vulnerabilities as well. And it makes me feel like we've definitely invested our money well in each of you. So on the screen, you can see eligibility for the scholarship. You must be an aspiring Latino educator, currently enrolled in an educational leadership program or educational administration, or you can be accepted into a program that is going to begin this next fall. The program needs to take place at a Utah institution of higher learning or by way of an online program while you reside in Utah, with your eventual goal of being an administrator at a school or district level in Utah. And we would hope that you would serve in that capacity in Utah for at least 2 years. We don't want to train you and have you run off to some other state. We really need you here. Also, you must be a member of ALICE, and we hope that you will read carefully about our mission and goals and that you align with those and want to help us further our cause. So the application process is very simple. There is a packet that must be submitted, and there are 7 elements of the packet that are listed here and explained in the information that's available online. And you will participate in an interview, and we'll set those up for the week of April the 12th. You can find all the information that you need online at our website, is shown there in the bottom left-hand corner, find information. And the packets are due on Friday, April 9th. I couldn't see my screen. And if you have any questions at all, you can reach out to anyone on the board and we're happy to be of help. Paula, do you have anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I would just add that the GCU process is very similar as far as the application. We do exactly the same things. It's just there's a different application that you just have to download that one. And then we work with Jeremy. He can answer any questions about the program there. We have also given 2 scholarships to GCU over the last couple of years as well. And one of the participants was going to be here tonight, but didn't make it. So definitely reach out if you have questions. And Miguel, if you have any specific questions, just let us know.
Yes. Any of you, by the way, thank you. All of you really inspire me to continue with my goals. But I have a question. Any of you get your bachelor degree outside of the United States? None? Any of you have any recommendation on what or where can I do a course that prepare me for a master in the United States?
Well, Miguel, it depends on the university that you decide to attend, but each university individually has different guidelines for you. So it would be best to investigate the university that you like at Grand at Grand Canyon University, talking to Jeremy to see if there's anything available through their university. So if you look at each individual university, they're the ones that would give you those guidelines of what you would need to enroll or to engage at their university.
Okay. Yeah, I was talking with Jeremy last year a lot, and he offered me good help and guidance.
So Miguel, just to chime in, did the international rep give you some good advice, or did you come to as any solution?
Not really. Well, she gave me a good information. The problem is was my condition, my status is political asylum, so I cannot apply for FAFTA. So that's why I look for another programs, and I think the one that is going to fit my budget and my goals is BYU.
Okay, and they'll accept, because if the ability to fill out the FAFSA, is that something that, because that's typically at the federal level, not necessarily based on school, but is BYU offering a situation where your status is a non-issue for the FAFSA?
No, but their program is much cheaper.
Okay.
It's almost half. So right
As
now,
far-
it's 1,000, and I got another scholarship for participating in the Aspiring Principals Academy that they
Okay,
offer.
cool.
So I already did it, and I get $1,000 right there. So I want to save all this year and prepare for next year and doing it, because next year in February is the month that they start the program. So that's my
Okay,
goal.
well, good to hear that you're getting it done.
Nice.
Thank you.
Well, we are running at the end, and we do have a poll that we would like to have you fill out. And then we can hang out a little bit longer if people have questions. But so this poll is, we usually have our summit. We've had it in May in many years. We were going to try to move it to October, but we were thinking about doing one in May this year, outside in a park, masked and social distance. And so here's our poll. And what we would like to know is, if we do that, if we hold it outside in a park with masks and social distancing, would you attend? Is there anything else to add to that, Annabelle?
No, I think that covers it.
So if you'll just click on that, and then I will turn the time back over to, while it's closing, to Bernardo.
Well, we want to thank you all tonight for taking your time to be with us. Thank you, Elogio, for guiding us through this. And thank you all for the participants and those that took the time that took the time to share with us your stories, your adventures, and all those that were behind the scenes in getting this put together, your energy, your time that you've put into it. We appreciate it. And remember, ALAS is here for any one of you that we could help. If we could help you in any way, please feel free to contact us, any one of us. There's Paula, Elogio, Diana, Annabelle. So let us know how we could assist and how we could help. And it's good to see you all. And remember, you belong to una familia, la familia de ALAS. And so may you have a great evening, and thank you again for being with us. Que tengan muy buena noche. Y que Dios los bendiga.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Miriam, I also want to give you an opportunity if you would like to say hi, or if you have any questions.
No, I'm good. I jumped on at the end no, I think I'm good. I had some questions about the scholarship, but you guys answered that, so I'm good. Thank you though.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Have a great night.
Thanks. Have a good night, everybody.
Paula, I did not know that story about your daughter's graduation on the interview day. We would have adjusted for you had we known.
Oh, it's okay. Remember, I got lost too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's all good. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Guys,
We
Thanks
can
for
stop
being here.
recording. We may want to stop recording and then maybe put it on the Facebook page, the recording.